It's time to admit that Xbox was wrong, and wrong about a lot. Exclusives are not antiquated, and consoles are not stagnating or dying. And you can see this in the very different paths that Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo are all on. And honestly, it has never been more obvious. We have two completely different marketing campaigns from Xbox and PlayStation right now, and Nintendo is adjusting their projections because the Nintendo Switch 2 is selling so well. It seems like a lot of the claims about where the industry was headed are already being exposed as terribly inaccurate. And honestly, this is good for the consumer. More choice for the consumer is a good thing. Companies having to compete for your attention and your money with a really good console or really good exclusives, that is how this is supposed to work. So let's start by comparing the current marketing push from Xbox and PlayStation, and then we're going to look at the reports for the Switch 2 sales. But before we do that, let's look at two quotes that I think demonstrate two things. It's going to demonstrate how wrong Xbox is, and it will also show how out of touch they are with the gaming market and with gamers. First, Sarah Bond said the following about exclusives in the recent Mashable interview. We're really seeing people evolve way past exclusives. The biggest games in the world are available everywhere. You look at Call of Duty, you look at Minecraft, you look at Fortnite, you look at Roblox. That's actually what's really driving community in gaming. That's where people gather and they have experiences. And the idea of locking it to one store or one device is antiquated for most people. Now, this is such a backwards way of looking at the gaming community and culture. Yes, big games like Minecraft and Call of Duty and Fortnite and Roblox, they're everywhere. It's the nature of games of that size. It's the nature of live service games, right? Not all of them are live service, but ongoing support, ongoing player funnels, needing to capture and keep everybody's attention. They need as many players as possible to keep those engagement funnels healthy. So when you see the sales charts every year, you will also notice that exclusives from PlayStation are up there. Exclusives from Nintendo are up there. You can see how one-sided this view of the market is. She's basically saying, well, there's these really big games, and they've made themselves available everywhere. Therefore, all gamers or most gamers, they think exclusives are antiquated. If her logic was correct, then with, Call of Duty and Fortnite and Minecraft and Roblox, they've been available for a long time. Surely by now the market would be rejecting exclusives, not embracing them and pushing them up the sales charts. In 2023, both Spider-Man 2 and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom were top-selling games for the year. As large games like Fortnite and Call of Duty, they're so big, why is the market not rejecting these games if the majority of gamers think it's antiquated? Why are they supporting them so much? Then, look at the recent marketing differences between PlayStation and Xbox. This really demonstrates how out of touch Xbox is with gamers. Xbox has a 44-second commercial that is being made fun of, it's being downvoted, it's being criticized by the gaming community. I honestly, when I first saw screenshots and clips, I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody was doing a skit and sort of taking a dig at Xbox and its marketing. And if you watch this trailer, it has never been more obvious that Satya Nadella's vision for Xbox is in play. He basically says in the commercial that, well, everything can be an Xbox. All you need is a controller. Now, Satya was pushing for this. We learned about this during the FTC trial. He was basically saying, why don't we just make a controller and people can access all the games that way? Because he's thinking completely differently about gaming. He's thinking about access. He's thinking like software needs to be everywhere. It needs to be very accessible. Let's remove barriers of entry. He's not thinking about the creative work that goes into making great exclusives and how historically that's what draws people to gaming or to gaming platforms in general. Removing access isn't really the draw. It's like, you've removed access, but why would I care to play games on my tablet or my smart TV if I've never really been gaming to begin with? Is that going to be the thing that makes me start gaming? Well, I just have to go buy a controller and hook it up to my TV with Bluetooth and pay for a subscription service to play these games on the cloud. That's not a very strong sales point or value offer to somebody who hasn't been gaming. So if you look at that and Satya's vision, then look at PlayStation's marketing. It's like it happens on PS5 is what they're saying. Now keep in mind, Sony is reporting that this is the most successful generation they've ever had for a console, and their blog describes the outlook perfectly. It happens on PS5 campaign captures the unexpected and unforgettable moments PS5 has to offer. The difference here is so clear. Xbox sees games like Fortnite as emblematic of the entire market, and so they are chasing customers. They're meeting the customers where they are. They've said many times that's their goal, is to just meet people where they game. Now, PlayStation, on the other hand, is focused on attracting customers to their platform. This is the difference between building a brand and an identity that is designed to attract and win customers versus just chasing them. This feels like the famous Xbox One TV moment, a corporate-minded approach to chasing customers versus attracting them. But wait, there's more. Not only is their approach to the market wrong-headed with respect to what they think consumers think, they also are incredibly wrong when it comes to consoles as an actual marketable device. In 2024, Phil Spencer did an interview with Rolling Stone where he famously said the following: "The console space all up isn't growing across all of them, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. We love those customers, but in terms of continuing to expand and grow Xbox, it's about PC, it's about cloud, and it's about making our games more available in more places." And yet somehow, if what he's saying is correct, then why is PlayStation boasting of like a 20 to 30% new user acquisition for the PS5? Basically, 1/3 of the people who have purchased a PlayStation 5 are new to PlayStation. That sounds like growth. That doesn't sound like stagnation to me. PlayStation has just now started really pushing their marketing of the PlayStation into China, and that could yield very good results for their growth as a platform. And then look at the recent report for the Switch 2, pulling from the Verge article. The Switch 2's popularity has exceeded even Nintendo's anticipations, with the company raising its sales forecast for the console by more than 25%. In its latest earnings release, covering April 1st to September 30th, Nintendo now predicts that it'll sell 19 million Switch 2 units by March of 2026, compared to its previous forecast of 15 million. So that's 4 million more units. But wait, there's more. For a market that is allegedly not growing, listen to how the Switch 2 and even the Switch 1 are doing from the same report. While the Switch 2 is the fastest selling game console of all time, the first Switch console is also still creeping up in sales. The Switch has now hit 154.01 million lifetime sales, just shy of the 154.02 million total units sold for the DS, which still reigns as Nintendo's most successful console. After dethroning the DS, the Switch then just needs to surpass 160 million sales to become the best-selling console of all time, a record set by Sony's PlayStation 2 last year. So listen. The Switch 2 is the fastest selling game console of all time, and the Switch 1 is still climbing in sales. How's that possible if the market for consoles is stagnant? We were told, this is where the industry's going. Console market's not growing, exclusives are outdated, they're anti-consumer, and yet we're seeing Nintendo buy in one more time around with their closed system with exclusives, and they're selling like crazy to the point that they're increasing projections. PlayStation continues to drive with exclusives, new user acquisitions hitting higher MAUs than they've ever hit before, but apparently the market's not growing and exclusives are antiquated and they're anti-consumer. So like I said, it's time to admit it. Xbox was wrong, and they're going to continue to be more and more evidently wrong in the future. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below or stop by a live stream. Always remember to hit like, share, and subscribe so I can see you in the next video.